Salutations, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, and today it's the end of the season, so I've been playing this game enough to know what shell is good and what shell is okay, and today I'm going to be just doing that. I'm going to have a tier list of best shells to kind of not good shells. I don't think there's any D or C tier shells here, so I might just disregard that, but every shell feels like it does something really good. Some of the shells do other things better than other shells where that's kind of like their main thing. But let's get right into it. Thief is first. Thief is probably one of the most high skill ceiling shells in the game. I don't think beginner players can use Thief effectively without knowing how the game works, because of her visor that tells you what the rarity of certain items are in the game. And with that knowledge, a newer person is not going to know like what a gold here or gold there means. But her abilities are pretty solid. She has a good mobility ability with her little Pathfinder grapple hook. And personally, I've never played this shell, but I think this is a really good shell for experienced runners, not a really beginner-friendly shell, so I'm going to put this in A tier for now. Next up is Vandal. Now, I played a bit of Vandal. Vandal is going to be your high mobility character. She's going to have her slide ability, which is very controversial. She's going to have her cannon. She's going to have, what else? She's going to have her ultimate, which is basically like an ultimate cardio kick where she can run really fast. You can run and sprint forever. So I think this shell is also going to be really good in experienced player hands. Not a lot of beginner people may find this pretty useful. I feel like once you get the movement down, which isn't going to take as long as knowing all the intricate mechanics of the game as comparison to a Thief, but Vandal, her displace ability can move teams away and move teams apart of each other. Like, you can pop people out of cover. I had moments where a team was taking on this whole building. I snuck up a ladder and I just blew them all off the building and just totally displaced the team. Her speed and her movement is great for outplaying runners, especially if they don't have that mobility, like playing against a triage or a recon or a assassin. So being able to have that high mobility and outplaying and outsmarting is kind of what Vandal is. And personally, I think Vandal is a bit weaker than Thief, but she is really powerful in fights. So I'm going to just put her right under Thief, because I think Thief has decent enough mobility, but she also has very good intel gathering with the drone. Oh man, I remember when the game first came out, the Thief's drone, you were able to stack up a bunch of claymores. I know they nerfed that. You can only put one claymore on that thing. And her drone there was a thing where if you're extracting and you're in that extraction animation of getting phased out, the Thief's drone was able to pluck all your items out of your inventory without you even noticing in that exfil animation. It was broken, but they fixed that. And her drone is still really powerful in comparison to Recon's intel gathering ability. But yeah, that's where Vandal is going to sit for right now. Next shell is going to be Thief. Now, me personally, I've been playing a lot of Thief recently. This is the character I'm playing right now. I think he's the weakest character in this game, because he's very smoke dependent. Now, he's going to be very good in close combat encounters, so in high tier loot places like Cryo Archive and Outpost, he's going to shine a lot more than, say, a Perimeter or a Dire Marsh. But he's good kind of universally. His passive or his like regular ability, his cloak is going to be probably one of the more powerful abilities in his kit. His ultimate is just throwing smokes down, and he has a land ability where you will negate all fall damage and just pop a smoke. So he's just a smoke guy. He's a smoker. He's a stoner, and he's not gonna give any players any boners. So he's okay. I probably put him as probably the only B tier character. You can do very well in certain situations. In most situations, you're going to kind of need to know how to use his cloak at the right time, and people can still see you with the cloak. And thermals just straight up hard counter all of his cloak abilities because they can see you through smoke. The only really cool thing you can do with Assassin's Kit is really move through UEs, kind of like a rook. But yeah, that's where I'm going to have to put Assassin. I think he's the weakest character in the roster for sure. So, and his cores are kind of lame. There's one core that if you sit and jack off with his cloak crouched, you'll, instead of using the timer, it just uses heat. So yeah, whatever. Let's go to Triage now. Triage is the next shell. Now Triage has a lot of things going with his kit. In Marathon, you can stack as many different shells as you want on a 3-man team. This is the only shell that if you stack them, I don't really see his use getting doubled. It usually gets negated because of his drone, his med drone. So if you have a med drone, you can't stack med drones. So one of his abilities are already negated if you stack Triage. So Triage is probably the least stackable character in the game, but he's still one of the most powerful characters in the game for his just survivability. My main buddy that I run with, he mains Triage, and you can play the game a lot differently because you can just tank more chip damage rather than worrying about using your shield patches or med patches fighting UEs. If you're out fighting UEs and you're taking chip damage and you're in the heat or you're taking damage from ticks, Triage Medrone is going to just negate all that damage. And it's also going to have the passive ability that if you use a consumable, that consumable will also have the effect to your other players that have the Medrone equipped. So being able to use a mechanics kit to knock off a debuff or a OS debug if you're getting hacked, or antivirus pack if you need to go into a sort of virus room or something, or cardio kicks or energy amps. So that is probably one of the more powerful things about his kit. And also his ultimate is really powerful. You can flip fights instantly with his ultimate by instantly rezzing any down teammates or deceased boxes, like bag teammates. It's pretty clutch in the right situations. The only thing is that his own survivability, like 1v1ing a Triage, is the first thing you want to do. You want to knock off the Triage first because his ultimate is too powerful. His med drones is going to stay on people. You want to kill a Triage on the team first, and he really doesn't do anything to a team. If you're running more than one Triages, it's kind of a detriment to the team, I would say. But Triage alone on a team is very good, and his kit is just S tier. He's the best support character in the game. Yeah, I don't think I can really say much else about Triage, but he's pretty good. Now Recon is a character I played a lot pre-buff of her ultimate ability, her scan pulses, where you couldn't even tell if it was a UE or a runner. But after that buff, her kit just got a lot better, and they fixed her recon drone. So Recon, I think, is probably, I think she's in the middle. I think she is powerful enough with her intel, with her ultimate now, but she's also still not that crazy. You want to be finishing, you want to be playing Recon kind of differently than any other runner, because her finisher, Siphon, is the best, so you can get your shields back quick when you finish people. And yeah, she's pretty good at getting intel. She has a core that increases the TAD, which I think is the only core that does anything to the TAD, makes it have more pulses, which is sometimes cool. She has other good cores, but she's also the best looking shell in the game. I think the aesthetic is perfect for the vibe and the world building and kind of the whole vibe of the game. It's pretty great, but as far as her viability in the game, I think she's pretty mid in the whole game, but she's quite literally the middle of the pack. I think she's better than Thief. I'll put her right under Thief, because Thief's recon drone basically recons more than the character shell Recon can recon. But I think leaving her an A tier above Vandal is pretty solid, because in certain areas like in Cryo or Outpost, just getting that ping to see where other players are can really make a team not push. Like once you see like you're getting scanned, and she has a passive that if you're getting scanned or ping, it will tell you. So you can tell people that you're getting looked at before anyone else. So she got that spidey sense. But let's go to Destroyer. Destroyer is my first shell that I played, and he has probably the lowest skill ceiling. He's the easiest character to pick up and get all of his value for, because his ultimate just tears people to shreds, and his shield is going to be very powerful, not only just to peek over, because his shield is the only ability that gives you third person, so you can kind of peek, but his mobility is also on kin with Vandal, but he does burn a lot of heat because he's a chunky character. He's a chunky shell, but he's the best for any altercation. If you're fighting a Destroyer 1-on-1, the odds are not in your favor at all if he has his ultimate. Now, he has like a tactical dash or run. He has a dash attack, which is very viable if you're parkouring or in a fight and trying to outmaneuver, very much like Vandal. But I think Destroyer is S tier. I put Triage over. I'm going to put Triage here, because honestly, I don't feel like Triage is S tier. I feel like there's only really one S tier character, and that is Destroyer, because he's such a menace when you're fighting and running into other runners and even UEs. It's hard to combat if he has his ultimate. I'm not going to lie. But his ultimate is only really good in mid-range. So any mid-range fights and even long-range, I've gotten to fights where I'm sniping people out in an open, like on perimeter or Dimarsh, and it's just ticking people away. And his shield in close quarter combat can really flip fights and kind of make people not push. And he's also really mobile when he uses his shield, so it can be in a lose-lose situations if you run into a runner. He might be, in my opinion, the only S tier character. I had to bump Triage down because Triage just doesn't do much in a fight himself, other than being very dependent on other runners. So if you have butt runners, if you're solo queuing and your gang is doo-doo, then you're only as best as your best man here. And then lastly, we have our only solo character, the Rook. Now, the Rook, I don't really see the Rook having much play at the end of the season. I don't really see Rooks at all at the end of the season because of the wipe coming. But pre-wipe, trying to get some stuff, I think Rooks are S tier. If you run into a Rook, you can recruit a Rook. Hopefully they're chill like that, and you can recruit them to go fight another team. You can have Rooks just help. Rooks make the game really fun sometimes, and running into a good one with a team of 3 could be some of the best moments when you're out with the squad. But I think this is my list. I think I have to switch Recon around with Vandal. That's crazy. I don't think Recon's that bad, but it's just like everyone's kind of solid in the game. But I think this is where I'm going to leave this. Is this rage bait? Am I tripping? I think that's it. Nah, I can't do that. I can't do that to Recon. I can't. Recon is not better than. Recon is better than Vandal. Recon's ult just gives you too much critical information right there. So in Vandal, nothing in Vandal's kit really feels like it could really flip a match like Recon. So yeah, that's gonna be the real thing. Yeah, nah, Triage is S tier.